Hi everyone, I'm Michael Robbins, and since 1999 I've prepared about 500 business plans for companies that have gone on to raise hundreds of millions of dollars. Done their business plans, pitch decks, forecasts, PPMs, and I'm always looking for new tools to make my job easier, reduce costs for my clients. And I was going to start this actually with VentureKit.ai, one of the AI business plan generating companies out there, but I'd actually already done that one several months ago. It wasn't recorded, but quick glance at what I got here, I noticed the numbers were off almost by a factor of 10x. So that one was a no. Then I was going to go look at Visme. They've got some videos talking about doing business plans, but as you can see, that is not their specialty. They do a lot of stuff, and I really couldn't find much to, give me more than a template. So not really an AI business plan generator. So I went over to PlanPros AI, and there were a lot of upfront videos, things trying to upsell me on hundreds of dollars of more services, including hiring their people to do the market research. But finally ready to begin and see what PlanPros can do. If I can move this over here. So I am using this for the first time. So let's check it out. And we will call this Haywire Ranch. And it's going to ask me to fulfill the questionnaire. And unfortunately, I've already seen through the videos that the numbers are not really AI. They're asking me to input everything. So I'm not going to fill out everything here. I'll just put in my name. And just move on. Go ahead and give it. That's where Haywire Ranch is. Okay. Okay, this was a really interesting thing because you can see if you put anything in here, it starts to populate it. So anything except equestrian. I mean, wow, it seemed to. Oh wait, I see an equine therapy. That's a little close. Equine therapy. What does it even mean? Let's see if we get anything with just horse. Horse boarding. Okay. All right. Yeah, largely horse boarding. Okay. So we'll say equestrian boarding, shoeing, grooming, travel to shows. In addition to on-site RV pads for long-term rental. Please list your most important products and services and your average selling price for each. So this is the part of the presentation where I show you that I've already done it. I think most people coming into this would kind of shudder and think, wait a minute, weren't you supposed to do all this for me? So we'll grab some of the price points here. So this is a couple of the, okay. Standard boarding was $450 per month. Premium boarding $850 a month. You got shoeing $150. Short term, we'll say short term boarding $35 per day. What else we got? We've got service visits, cost per shoe. Those are some of the cogs. At least I've got maybe some of the travel aspects. Shoeing. Oh, training. What was that? U55 down here. Okay, so when you look at all the different types, it's doing about we'll just say 800 a month. Training, you got the shoeing, travel to shows. What was that? About 830. And then RV pad premium. Right, that was what, 2,000 a month per month. RV standard 1,500 per month. You had a yurt 3,000 per month. And then there was just like the RV pad itself, which was $950 per month. What city is Orcas Island in Washington? What market problem does your company solve? What are the reasons customers? Okay. Horse owners do not often have the space and equipment to properly board their horses, and Orcas Island residents have difficulty in finding property to rent or park their RVs. Why do you think the business is uniquely qualified to succeed? It has a track record. It's been in business about 5 years, so we'll say 5-year track record, 100 clients. Yeah. Let's see, I'll say it was about 5 years or so. It was probably an LLC. I think it's an LLC. What accomplishments have you achieved to date? Well, grew to 100 clients, probably served hundreds of horses, gained access to local resources under market rates. I think Okay. Target customers, they're horse owners. It's largely Washington State. Key customer needs. Well, going back to services, they need a place to store their horses, someone to feed, groom, train, and care for their horses. Residents need a place to park their RV. So this is an interesting thing. When they're trying to upsell me to hire their consultants, the pitch would almost scare you into thinking that you have to, that this platform is not enough in and of itself, that you're probably going to screw up on your market research and your competitive analysis. People are going to shut you down. And so here we are. They're asking what are the 3 top competitors and include their websites. I have done this research. I do have a few of them. I'm going to have to come back and plug that in later. What are the main competitive advantages? I would say charisma, pricing, right. So, what does it say? Any promotion you plan to use? Okay, fine. So, got to do some networking. Some online SEO is good. Probably do direct mail to horse owners. Probably trade shows. All right, we'll leave it at that. Oh, okay. Secure new property and what are those called? Stalls. Okay, customer secured, fine. All right, I'll tell you if you can't figure it out. Paddocks, that's the word I was looking for. Okay, so we'll say 12, or we'll just say 11, growing to 11 horse boarders, and then on the rental, you've got how many tenants? Okay, so this is about 9. Okay. Grow to 11 full-time are they horse residents? Full-time horse boarding customers, and what was that? 9 RV tenants. Add new team member. So this was an interesting thing. It was like inviting you to just drop in your LinkedIn. Now, I am actually not an equestrian guy. This was for one of my clients, but I will just use my profile for this. And it'll be interesting to see how it takes my LinkedIn profile and translates it. Oh, let's just say owner. All right. New board member. Right. So I remember seeing this part in their video, cautioning you about it can be tricky. So let's see what happens here. Previously, when he clicked on this button, it took a bit longer. Okay, interesting. Land purchase, 750K. That's not far off. Well, okay, maybe it's a little far off. It's 380. And yeah, you can see I've already done cash flow over here. So 135K in, whoops, right, 380. Build out, 135. Oh, okay, wait. We'll do 135 location build out. RV pads, tiny homes, 150. All right, we'll say 150 for that. We'll take off the FF&E. The build out was included. That's cool that they added horse pastures and feeding. That was already included. Okay. Total 665, was that it? Yeah, 665. Okay. So this I don't like because, you know, the amount of working capital you need depends on how quickly that revenue is going to ramp, and we haven't even specified that. So it is putting the cart before the horse. So let's see what it comes up with here. Total 250. So it's throwing in, right, 250 extra. And we're kind of showing a burn, a burn of about 100, excluding debt service. So maybe we bring this down a bit, make that 50. Initial rent lease, we're buying the property. Yeah, you said we're buying the property. Salaries for 3 months. I don't know, with personnel burden, maybe 33K. Initial supplies. Sure, I'll take the 15. Yeah, insurance wasn't that much. 168. Yeah, we're going to want a little cash cushion in there. Does your revenue come from product sales or subscription sales? Service sales. I mean, I don't think you'd call regular boarding or, oh, add new product. Oh boy. Okay, this is where it gets a little agitating, right? your expected annual sales growth rate. Well, guess what? The growth rate that you have in the first year is usually not the same growth rate that you have in the 5th year. And this isn't the first time I've seen one of these platforms just try to say you're getting a blanket annual growth rate and that's all you get. So I'm just going to try to play along within their confines. We'll call this yeah, I'm a little stuck because we already talked about, I already gave you all the pricing for the services, for the rentals. You know, maybe this isn't a new product. Yeah, I'm not too sure. Let's see what it can do with what I've told it. Goodness gracious. Do you see how, you see why I referred to this as DIY? I don't know, the average person maybe making 50. Your monthly salary for the rest of the team. Yeah, you wonder, does that mean per person or does that mean all the people, like in aggregate for the rest of the team? It probably means in aggregate. So, and they don't even start until later. Oh boy. All right, I'll leave it at 50. Your initial monthly marketing expenditure wasn't too much. Okay, maybe that averaged at about 1,000. Utilities is about 300. Insurance 500. Office supplies expense, probably not much. Not too much. Not that much. Oh my gosh. So you would expect that because there are so many equestrian businesses out there that AI would be able to figure out, oh, if you got a piece of land this big and this is how many customers you're serving, then, and you're in such and such region, then this is what the typical company spends on all these things. And it's not doing that. It's making me put in everything, and it's arduous, even though I've already done it. You come to the table expecting it's going to do a lot more for you than making me put in a bunch of numbers. Yeah, and what if somebody doesn't even know what current liabilities are? So this would be like to get your accounts receivable, and I don't remember if she had an accounts receivable. No, what was it? The balance sheet. No, everything was like cash up front. So depreciation rate, that's interesting. We suggest entering 20. Okay, so instead of saying years, they're doing like a percentage per year. So 20% would be, your stuff depreciates in 5 years. I mean, really though, if we're talking about paddocks, it's got longer life than that. I'm going to give it 10% a year. Oh, debt payback. Yeah, what do we try to do with that? Okay, I actually had an amortization table going on somewhere in here. Where are you? Here we are. 20 years. And had an interest rate of 8. This can cast 0. Yeah, we'll just start out with 0. It's fine. Oh, if you require funding, what percent will be financed by debt versus equity? Okay, so we're saying the debt was 523 divided by all the financing. All right, so basically 65%. Yeah, I don't know how somebody would use this if they hadn't already done the numbers, done the spreadsheet. There's probably some existing assets on the balance sheet, but I'm just going to let it roll. Okay, so it appears that it is like demanding that I go through that whole revenue exercise, even though it had me put in all that information up front, how many customers are going to get, what are we going to charge them, that wasn't enough. That for some reason I've got to now go back in and I've got to, I guess, like add every single product individually. Not fun. So I'm going to shortcut this a little bit. We will say horse boarding sell per month. I mean, we're trying to get to 11. We'll say 15% growth. The average price for the horse boarding was that between the 450 and the 8, so 650. We'll give it 5% annual growth. The cost to deliver the horse boarding might have that boarding, right? And that's actually, that was coming from margin. So what was that? All right, a little tough to reverse engineer. We'll say 300. How much of it all do you expect? How much, if at all, do you expect to your direct product costs to grow each year? Maybe they could use AI to proofread their interface. Your direct product, I mean, they're going to grow with revenue, okay? Shoeing, and I mean, that's running a lot higher. Lots of shoeing clients. Let's see, horse boarding, paddocks, show. No, it's probably bundled in something else. Let's call this training, and that's basically, what is it doing? Our previous client base. I think there was about, yeah, okay, about 12 jobs a week. So we'll say 48, say 15. That average price, say 150. 5. The shoeing cogs. Oh, there's a weighted average shoeing price, so 85. All right, we'll change this to 85. and then it was largely labor, so 91% gross margin. So we'll say the cost, was like $7 or something. Once again, do you expect your direct product costs to grow? All right, maybe one more equestrian one, like say the training. So this was again U55. Oh, that's right, down here. Okay. So training was an average of 767. Wait, we got training here? Oh no, wait, this was supposed to be shoeing. Okay. And then this one can be training, and it's probably about the same. Like most of the boarding horses would have training as well. Yeah, that was taking the existing revenue and what they do. So what would that be? This was this divided by 650 divided by 12. Okay, so maybe about 4 horses a month. I already say this. All right, 767. Expect to raise the price. 5 cost to produce. The training, I mean, that's just labor. And sometimes you can include labor in your COGS. Just depends on what you're doing. And this should be irrelevant. Okay, add new product. Oh, this was a blank one? Okay, we'll say RV pad rental. Was that 11? Or was that horses? Probably horses. How many RV rentals do you got here? Yeah, maybe about 6. And sales growth, actually, it can't grow much. It's limited space. And the price, I think that was, say, average 2,000. The cost, I mean, say that's the typical management fee, 5, 5, save it. Okay, we got to move on. DIYAI. Okay, you got all my salary stuff. Let's move on. You got all that stuff. Okay, so the revenue is definitely closer than the VentureKit.ai. We were getting to revenue of about 413. I got to revenue of 612. What is this? A balance sheet? What is this? Net income. Okay, something went strange here. It's got $1 million in other expenses. which must be operating expenses. So some number probably got mistyped or something. Oh, it's probably the monthly. Okay, it's monthly salaries. This is what's throwing it off. I put in annual, so yeah. All right. All right. Now let's see if we're not losing $1 million a year. Okay. Good. So the net income, this is an interesting thing. So they've got it growing to 612 in revenue and 109 in net profit. That could be me taking a few shortcuts and plugging this in. But still at this, so 17% net margin, that's not actually what the business is doing. The net margins were not that great. So I've seen other platforms that provide some like benchmarking and will tell you what typical companies do in that industry. And that's really important because you could get to this point and think that you've entered everything in and it's the best of your ability, but it turns out that your benchmarks are way out of line with I think I'm supposed to hit this button now. Okay. Yeah, so if you don't know what the typical gross margins, revenue per employee, marketing budget, customer acquisition costs, net margins, all these things. If you don't know these things, you've just gone in here and you've put in numbers to the best of your ability, but it turns out you're really off on even one of them. That could be a real big hole to your credibility. Some entrepreneurs, they have a kind of a special tactic or trick in their business model that will justify having one of these benchmarks out of line. But you'd want to know that going into it. You'd want to know that by this point. They just had me type in a bunch of numbers, and up until this point, there really hasn't been any AI involved. It's really just if you put in a price and a number of units and a growth rate, this is just accounting, some spreadsheet doing it in the background. Now I do know that when it's done, it's generating narrative based on what I've put in here, right? So it's starting off, I think actually the executive summary is at the bottom. Yeah, here we go. Okay. Premier horse boarding facility, exceptional services designed to meet the needs of the equestrian community with same staff. Okay. So I'm not going to read this word for word right now. I will say that you can see, horse boarding is 1.5 billion dollars. In the United States, you're not serving the United States. And, it was a bit of a challenge for me to identify the local market on Orcus, but I did so. And someday the AI might be able to figure that out too. So in the marketing plan, for some reason, it's like putting in a bunch of my price points, which does not really make sense. The marketing plan is where you should be justifying to the reader that your marketing budget is sufficient to drive that revenue. And really, it's for some reason it's chosen to put my price points in there. Operating plan. Yeah, I mean, that looks okay for just, generalizing how you would run an equestrian business. It's interesting, though, I'm seeing very little about the tenants, the RV tenants, right? It's really all focused here on the equestrian side. And of course, yeah, I didn't put in the competition to fill that out. I gave it my LinkedIn. I don't know why I chose not to put that in. Let's go back up the top here. Shoot. Okay, company overview, right? Interesting. So still no mention of the RV. It's repeating the pricing. Okay, now it's talking about the RV pads. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's it's very similar to the other platforms that I've seen, the type of narrative it develops. It's pretty non-specific, and while it has, yeah, see, to find new local writing clubs, I didn't talk about people that come and want to ride horses, because she's not doing that. That's not what this is about. So yeah, you get a lot of fluff, and a certain amount is okay, but then it starts to get redundant. Okay, so that's interesting. Okay, so it found a competitor. It found a competitor in Redmond, which honestly is hours away from Orcas Island, and what? Okay, so it is showing the pricing for Emerald. Okay, Blue Ribbon in Spokane, super far away from Orcas. I mean, now you're talking, maybe 5 hours, including all the ferries. But I will say this is a little better than I've seen the other platforms do. One of them was giving me competition like in Kentucky, and some of them were closed businesses. So including some pricing in here, have noted that the facilities could benefit from more frequent upgrades. Yeah. So the AI competitive analysis, the pricing, it's valuable data. This is probably the most valuable to really find something where the competition is failing at. And I'd have to do some of my own research to see if this is valid or if this is made up. It says a challenge they face is limited indoor space for year-round activities, which can be a concern during inclement weather. Well, that's also a problem with Haywire Ranch. There's not a plan to build such a space for 5 years. And it's probably a concern with all these competitors. So to say that, oh, Sunridge Equestrian Center, your downside is you don't have an indoor space. Well, yeah, aside from the paddocks, I don't think any of them do. So, these competitors, to call somebody in Spokane a direct competitor, I don't. That's a stretch. Olympia still, that is a good ways from Orcas Island. You'd still be, close to 5 hours. So the competition it chose was better than one of the other platforms, um, but it's still pretty lacking. So let's see, maybe we just look at one more section. Okay, this is the competitive advantages, what I said. Yeah, okay. So, what's the next one? It lets me save the plan. Save the plan before attempting to download it. Is it saved? Can I download now? So, like most of these, they give you a Word document, not a spreadsheet. And for, um, if an investor is taking you seriously and really wanting to get into this, then um, they're often going to want to see how the numbers are created, right? They're investing to get a return, and they want to see how your revenue projections are generated and what the citations are, right? What is the basis for um, the growth rate? What is the basis for the customer acquisition costs? And we're really not getting any of that here. And I think that if I were to tell it, it would just simply put it in a paragraph, right? It wouldn't look at the long-term value of a customer, because that's important too. When you're looking at customer acquisition costs, you need that the long-term value of a customer to give it context. So here's, kind of where the rubber meets the road, and that is, right, it's created a plan, right, it's dropped in some numbers here, which is really, DIY, created by a spreadsheet in the background. What are we at? Like 15 pages. Looks like a bit of redundancy. Not enough given to the tenant revenue, which wasn't. So it was a subtotal revenue, gross revenue. So yeah, you see actually here the rental revenue was over half the total revenue, and there's practically no mention of it at all. And, worse, what I see with almost all these is they don't pick up on the fact and tell you, alert, 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 you are trying to raise $290,000 in common and preferred equity financing. $290,000. If you gave those investors 100% of the company, they might break even in 5 years. So, yes, this business model does not work. And none of the platforms are smart enough to alert you to that fact. So, we will call this one done. And I will be looking into their supposed investor database. You will find a lot of consultants and companies in this industry that will talk about having access to investors or access to an investor database because it makes investors really excited. Oh, you're going to do more than help me with a plan. You're going to help me find investors. And the unfortunate thing is that these lists are really not that viable. Um, I'll say I have had the most luck on Axial.net. They've been around for decades. I think even Founders Suite is kind of decent, but I will add it to the comments of this video. If I find that their list to access investors is something else, then we should all know about it, and I will add that to the comments. Until then, we will try another one soon. Thanks for watching.